Big old badass mountain.
Uber. Me neither. Takes a couple hours before we go. Come on.
Man, we're just leaving the house, the neighborhood here. We have a pretty special journey in store today with a couple of really cool, exciting new items, new products. But first, I had to plug a hole in my rear tire. So anyway, we're gonna get the tire pressure filled up, swing by the grocery store, pick up a nice dinner, and we're heading up to the hills to do a cool ass camp out and a practical field test of the hot tent stove situation. Oh, and I've got one more super exciting item that we're going to be getting a first look at today because it just arrived, delivered by Amazon, practically about 15 minutes before I left the house. We're just going to give it a first look once we get up here into camp tonight. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be pretty freaking awesome. Waterfall is sometimes flowing over here. So, oh, there it is. It's flowing. Not super strong, but got a little bit of waterfall action. Sweet. I was going to pull over and kind of show you what's going on with the loadout on the bike arrangement, but that can wait till we get to camp, I suppose. And so had some things to do around the house. It took me forever to get my shit together and get packed up. Dang, man, they're wrecking that freaking bridge we used to have here. Put in something new, I guess. That was cool. I was just talking to a guy at the stop sign there, and he's telling me he has a 350 GS. He was telling me these things right here are definitely good bikes for taking on long trips. I'm like, yeah. He said, but you can't go on single track with them. I was like, what? Funny thing about bikes, man. People want to spark up conversation with you even when they're not even on bikes. Everybody wants to talk about bikes. All right, that is the South Fork of the Ogden River. Bye, Pine View. Got the osprey up top there in that big old nest. Sometimes there's like 3 of them up there. Scenic byway. Road closed, 17 miles ahead at the gate. Not sure if it's accessible or not. It was going to be manageable. The heat was going to be manageable on the tent fabric. I don't get it though. I mean, I don't get why. I guess because they can't, they don't get the camp. Oh, no camping. Cool. No overnight camping. Perfect. It's like, in the wintertime, there's so few options. You have to go out to the West Desert. It sucks. There you go, closed off. It's not cool when people show up, especially law enforcement, to come and tell you that there's no overnight camping. Well, that's how much daylight we got left. We're in for a freaking pickle. There's practically nowhere up here to camp. So we kind of are stuck with like going all the way up and over Trapper's Loop over into Morgan and up that way. I mean, snow-based ski resort, man. It's a big old badass mountain for sure. We're up here to the snow level once again. Anyway, I can show you the arrangement here. So the volet straps, these big beefy sons of bitches, are just about perfect for having this thing mounted on the top of the box. I'm not sure that's exactly where I'll keep it, where I'll put it, but seems to work pretty good for now. I'll have to get some sort of a little bit of a better pad or a cushion for the base of it, but I'm figuring, you know, on the long range trip, my sleeping bag and everything usually goes right here. That's one thing I need to do, is upgrade to a proper down sleeping bag that comes down this small, because my preferred sleeping bag is quite a bit larger. So this here is my large Army multi-piece sleeping bag system that I've had for ages. It's great for the truck, but I don't usually use this system on the bike. So you can see the specs right there. I've just taken in the gray bag to the far left the one layer out for this trip, so it's kind of handy for that. Now I've just thrown these together. That gray bag in the middle is my mountain bike tent, which is awesome, but it's not suited for hot tenting. So it's just a size comparison to show what I've got to haul to do the hot tent separate from the stove. That gray bag will be staying. So here you see from left to right my sleeping bag, the tent, the sleeping mat, my small inflatable pillow, the tent poles beneath that, and then the stove system by itself. So this is kind of the whole arrangement stuffed into the bag. It could be a lot larger. It's not super small, but this isn't going to be practical in most environments I go to. It's just for the extreme cold weather of Canada and Alaska. Here's our potential spot number 2, I guess you could say. Not only does this place have people in it, it's got a RV camper in it. Man, this stretch of the Weber River is definitely prime for fishing, man. It's bumming me out that I couldn't bring my fishing equipment. So that spot's a complete total bust. So that means we have kind of about 2 more spots that I can think of before I'm just going to turn around and bag it this whole day. I mean, how ridiculous is that? Yeah, because of road closures and public lands that are closed down, it's practically going to be a bust. Yeah, dude, this is not a RV park. Jesus. A lot of times that spot's open. We are going to meander all the way up to Lost Creek Reservoir. And I don't know, dudes. I haven't been back there since maybe my 3rd month having this motorcycle. So I can barely have any recollection of if there's any sort of spots to pull off to camp up through there. Find a suitable spot to do some recreating. Unbelievable. This little road we're on right here is part of the Lincoln Highway. Lincoln. It's a killer spot. shit. This place is kick-ass though, man, no doubt about that. It's freaking beautiful up here. And not a lot of people come up here. Whoa! Look all the way back there, man, how sick is that? It's all private, no access, unless you have a boat. Man, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, nice Glastron. That's the kind of boat I used to have. The best part so far is that there's just a lack of signs. No trespassing, or I mean, no camping signs, so that's promising. Not ideal, kind of cool, but whoa, shit, we're about to get in trouble. Come on, big baby. I meant to only kind of come up to that flat spot, but this road kind of tricked me, made me think it kept going. It keeps going right to the freaking bank of the lake. This is the type of stuff why my friends switched to the lighter bikes. But it's alright, I don't mind. I mean, that spot would kind of work, but not that great. Whew! This one right here. Shit, that thing's gonna be kind of tricksy. That could be hard to get back up. Holy hell. Ah, we can do it. We can do it! But damn, that's a big ass fucking drop off right there. What the hell? Not sure what we're getting ourselves into here. It's looking pretty freaking awesome though. And it looks like a trail that not too many people are going to bother us upon. Both other campers and the authorities. Dude, it's just one of those spots where it's like, while you're trying to get balanced and shit to get up. Fuck no, we ain't going down there. Although that would be hella fun in the Land Cruiser. Yes. Holy smokes, dude. Alright, we did it. Awesome. What's in the mystery bag? Well, it's about that big. And it makes a buzzing sound. It sounds like a swarm of bees.
Hot tent camping off the motorcycle. Would have liked to have shown you guys what I was doing as I was doing it, but if I can go and do another one of these before the big trip, then that's what I'll do. But just because of the time constraints today, running out of time, so got to get some wood collected. Hey, look, man, the biggest freaking hazard is, number one, I set up the tent oriented so that any breeze should blow the sparks that way, because this tent is not a spark friendly tent. I'm sure it's nothing like those big canvas tents. So secondly, these freaking guy wires, man, you got to set something up there so that you don't trip, because you trip that son of a bitch, especially while it's cooking, you're gonna have a freaking open fire on the inside of your tent. So that is not ideal. Got to set up some good barricades, barriers to give you a good path to walk around that. But I'm gonna move the bike forward here just a little bit more, and then I'll end up using just one of these or something for that third anchor right there, for the third guy wire. But I got lots of room for that. And yeah, so let's get some wood, let's get some food going. Well, this is the first time I've practically ever used sagebrush, dead sagebrush for fuels exclusively anyway. And we'll get back to this and break that up, but we've got a nice little start here. We might actually be able to get dinner started before it's completely dark, but the moon is up, the pink light, sun's setting over there, dead calm. The birds are saying goodnight. And not too far away from home. So this is my little SOG shovel, and yeah, it's just a little poop scooper shovel, but it's just a miniature entrenching tool. But that little tiny pick right there turned out to work perfectly for digging a teeny little hole for both of these tent posts. So I've got them both kind of tilted at a little bit of an angle, just to kind of obtain a little bit more real estate over here where I'm going to be sleeping. But yeah, that freaking tool is awesome. And then I had to use it a little bit to kind of make a level out the ground here, to try to make a nice level. What have we got in here? Have you ever had onions and sweet potatoes? Me neither. But it looked a little better than just onions and potatoes, so I thought I'd try it. Well, good morning, folks. We made it. Man, that was quite the experience, quite the experiment of an experience. The sun is up. It's probably got to be about 10 o'clock now. I got most of my rest after the sun rose, so I'm going to process some more wood right here for breakfast. The pile of wood that I had was adequate to get me through the night. Barely. I was actually kind of surprised when it started getting light and the sun came up. What I would recommend is take the pile of wood, the size of pile of wood that you think you need, and double that. so that you're not skimping by in the night. But the stove worked great. This has definitely been, with the floorless tent here, has probably been the dirtiest camp I've had in a long time. Dirt everywhere. And all went well, except for I had one casualty this morning. Unfortunately, I've had that nice Thermarest Neotherm X probably about 5 years now, and it's a super durable unit, but this morning when I was trying to clean out some dirt underneath it, I leaned it up against the damn hot stove, and sure enough, man, burned a freaking hole in it that big. So I got a patch kit, but it takes a couple hours for the glue to dry, so I'm just going to take that home and deal with it. Fortunately, it did not happen at night, because that thing is got the R value factor is pretty high, so it insulates you real well against the cold ground, and it's one of my key pieces of kit, really. So kind of bummed out about that. Hopefully I don't have to buy a new one. Baco Laplander, dang good saw, sharp as hell. I want to get that one that folds up. It's super flexible too, because it you know, it gets caught sometimes. Didn't even have time to set up my chair last night. Totally could have fished on the way home. I've been having these problems with the GS motorcycle's battery, and that goes all the way back to when I got it back from the dealership who did the work on it to replace the alternator. They replaced the alternator under warranty on that thing when it had maybe 20,000 miles on it or something, 25, I don't remember. So it shouldn't have had an alternator failure, but when they did that, they charged me for a new battery through the process, which I don't even think was really a problem. And so ever since then, as fall time came around, we're now in spring, of course, but all through the winter, just been having all sorts of problems with that. So I pulled the battery out. I slept with the goddamn battery in my, I tried to have it just next to the stove for a while, and then I ended up putting it inside my freaking, wrapped it up in this flannel and put it inside my sleeping bag with me and snuggled it all night long just to keep it from getting the temperatures to drop too low, because that's what my theory is on this problem with this thing, is the battery temperature. So I think the battery has enough voltage unless it drops super cold. So last night it was definitely below freezing out here. Ice on the puddles and whatnot, and frost all around outside, but it certainly got below freezing. So it was a pretty good trial run for this setup. And sure enough, man, it was cold as shit outside, and nice and toasty inside. Now with this tent, it's got some awesome snow and sand flaps here. You can lay sticks on and rocks on and stuff. I did have a little bit of a draft, but I got most of it covered up. I had my feet down by the stove, and then about the middle of the night I had to switch around and put my upper body up near the stove. And the big challenge with it is constantly feeding the stove, obviously, right? So I definitely was up about 3 times when it was just about out with nothing but a little bed of coals. There was probably about an hour and a half in between each of those. And the trick with this particular tent setup is that I don't want to get it so hot that it is in danger of damaging the fabric on this tent. It can get quite warm. I mean, the pipe could get red hot, but I try to cool it down as soon as I see that it starts getting red hot. And so you can't really feed it a ton of wood, but I'll keep experimenting with that, and it worked good through the night. I kept put a few of these size logs in there, and yeah, it did the trick through the night. So I kept quite a bit of small kindling type of stuff in there as well, and it just was kind of a constant effort to try to revive that fire. And so it'll be a little bit different in a different scenario or a different type of tent, but where you can kind of keep loading it up more. But This was just the initial try run, so we'll see how it goes on the next one. But next up, we're gonna get this freaking battery going and then make some breakfast. So the thing about it is that if my keeping the battery warm strategy didn't work and it still dropped too cold, too low of temperatures, then it'll be kind of hosed. I have to get somebody to off-road over here to give me a jump start, which would be ridiculous, right? My next stop will be later this week is to get down to Harrison Eurosports and ask him what the hell is up with this battery. All right, let's hope she fires. It's pretty warm out now, so shouldn't be too big a problem. It's 51 degrees out here. Come on. Woo. Snuggling with your battery theory proves to work. That saves me a whole freaking headache, man. I'm worried. We're gonna let that bad boy warm up and idle for a bit while we make breakfast. Get the fire going. All right. You can fit a chair in here. But just barely. So here we are, just about the last phase of the adventure here. Cooking up breakfast. I'm gonna get the eggs and stuff going here. And then I'll go out and grind up some beans and we'll make coffee. Well, I realized that this is not just a add water and cook type of meal. All right, coffee grinds in the new Woods Canada coffee grinder. Pretty stoked. Let's check it out. I gave it a nice wash. No idea how thick the coarse the grinds are here yet. Should take a lot. All right, breakfast is ready. This is supposed to be made in a microwave, so I kind of bought the wrong thing. Not too bad. Got the Woods Canada cup. There we go, that comes out. That's enough right there. So in she goes. Okay, give it about 4 minutes. Finally time to sit and relax and enjoy the morning. That's pretty damn good. And we've still just got that one last little item to attend to. Thank you for being patient with me on that one. Just didn't have time last night when we got into camp. Some Jimmy Dean microwavable eggs, cheese, and bacon. It needs to be a little bit bigger. Maybe need to get 2 of those next time. Oh, there's a nice little breeze. It's welcome. Sweet. Top of the morning to you. One additional piece of equipment that I need to bring on the trip is a tarp. I have a really nice Kelty tarp. It's called Noah's tarp. They come in different sizes. I got the pretty large one. I'd like to get one that's about half that size, but I do have the Eagle Nest Outfitters Hammock Company's Rainfly that works too. It's got ropes all around. But I think a large tarp is going to be key, because if we get up there in the rainy scenario, yeah, it's great to have a hot tent, but if you can't take off all your clothing and stuff in a tarp, under a tarp next to you, kind of operate and function underneath the tarp adjacent to the tent, maybe even partially under the tent, under the tarp, then I think that's going to be the winning combination. But tarps are kind of crucial for shade when you get to the hot areas, and rain. I mean, pretty universal piece of equipment. Ooh, that's hot. Almost packed up here, but before we go, I'll show you what we've been carting around this whole trip. Really thought I would have a little bit more time on my hands, which is always the case, isn't it? To actually open this thing up, take a good look at it, but we'll do that when we get back home. Boom, there it is. The Mavic Air 2S. DJI's latest and greatest offering into the consumer drone world. Excited to tell you all about it, and excited for all the new things that this thing will open up for the channel, for both channels, and it's going to be pretty kick-ass. I have not had a new drone in 5 years, so stay tuned for that. We'll do a little unboxing video of it. It's going to be pretty sick, and then we'll go do its first test flight, and then hopefully we'll get some good footage out of this thing here before too long. So stay tuned. We're about to pack up and hit the road and get on out of here.
All right, homeward bound, people. Sweet. So far, it was a success. Well, that was a fun outing, but I suppose that the real question is just how viable of an option is it to have a hot tent on an adventure bike. But for now, I'd say that it's a go, and you'll just have to stay tuned to the big adventure to see whether or not it pans out. But I'm pretty optimistic and looking forward to giving it a shot.